could give me one piece of advice, what would that be?
I thought for a second, what I told him was respect. I think as we look at, whether you're talking about warrior ethos on the Army side, the core values on the air side, I always come back to respect. And the reason I said that to him was, if we have respect for one another, whether it's our subordinates, our peers, our superiors, we build trust. And, we're all going to mess up at some time. It's just human. But if we have that trust among each other and we can talk and we can tell each other and pick us up as a team and get back on track, I think it makes all this work. And the reason I told them respect too is I look at how inside the JCS, when we get into some pretty difficult times, behind closed doors with 7 members, with 7 different mindsets, we got to respect each other's opinion. And we got to come up what's best for the nation and make a recommendation to the chairman that he can take to the secretary and president. So no matter what we disagree upon, the respect is so critical at every level, whether from the time I was a private all the way through.
So as you guys are working around the microphone, because I'm sure you guys got thoughts to share, this is my favorite snapshot because this epitomizes the NCO Corps right here. So we're at the signing mission, the MFO, and that's a staff sergeant right there briefing General Grass. And he's briefing General Grass, not only extremely effective, but he's actually thrown some humor in. I mean, who's comfortable enough to brief a 4-star about your mission set? Ironically, that staff sergeant is in charge of a 9-person team. They're on an island looking over the Bay of Aqaba. The only people that live on that island are guardsmen. That staff sergeant's in charge of that crew for 28 days. They get resupplies every week of food and water. The rest of it is on him. He's responsible for their professional development. He's responsible for the morale. He's responsible for their physical fitness. There's no place to run but a circle around the post itself. And those guys are out there every morning doing PT. This is our enlisted corps. This is the greatness of the National Guard. This is what we bring to the fight. Our leaders at every level.
Anybody in the crowd been to OP 311 in Sinai? Some of you probably have. What the chief said is right. That helicopter back there made me a little nervous when he was nudging up to the edge like this, and I looked down, it was like 500 feet. So these guys are pretty remote, top of this hill. But they're doing a great job. They make us so proud. Questions? All right, then I got one.
Hey, got a question over here, sir.
Oh, okay.
Hurry, Ron. You don't want him to ask one.
Hi, good afternoon, sir. My name is Master Sergeant Daniel Griego, Texas Army National Guard. We discussed a little bit about sequestration coming up through 2019. You talked about the state partnership, a lot of the really important roles, domestic operations that the National Guard plays. My question is about the Homeland Response Force. Years ago, National Guard was tapped by the DoD to take on this very important mission throughout the 10 FEMA regions. How will sequestration affect that? And could you say a few words about what that mission is going to look like going forward?
Oh, excellent question. So I think everyone is familiar with our HRFs, our Homeland Response Force, but they're part of a chem-bio-nuclear enterprise today that consists of our civil support teams, 57 of them, 22-person teams. 17 chem-bio-nuclear teams that are made up of company-level decon called the SURF-Ps. Decon, they're medical, there's some search and extraction in them. There's 17 of those. The HRFs, there's one per FEMA region. There are about 566 authorized, and they're a little bit more robust than the SURF-Ps. And they can do decon. They can go in and do tech rescue. There's so many things that they can do in a disaster when you have collapsed buildings or a dirty environment. On top of that, on the federal side then, there's a brigade size element that's about 4,000 to 5,000 active primarily that's available. And then there are 2 more units, we own one of them, about 1,200 each, which are command and control units. They're kind of like a brigade headquarters plus. And the intent is if a 10KT went off somewhere, you're going to rat everybody out so fast that that active brigade rolls in after the Guard folks are already there and ratted out. They've gotten too much radiation. And then we can begin to use these other 2 brigades to pump more troops in, conventional troops that are being outfitted, trained kind of just in time to be pushed in. That whole enterprise today is about 70% National Guard. It's about 18,000 troops. A significant amount of money goes into that. The first question I'll answer is, I think the money's pretty solid. There'll be some attacks after it, but everyone realizes we need this capability in the United States of America. So I think if anything, I mean, it's going to have to get really tough. If we didn't get them cut in 15, I think going out years we won't grow much, but we should be able to sustain the HERFs, the CSTs. People have tried to attack those, and we've fought that off, and everyone realized the value of the SURF-Ps, the CSTs, and the HERFs. One of the things we're looking at right now, though, is we've had it now for about 5 years. Before that was a different construct. It may be time to look to the future. What does the structure what do the structure of these units need to look like 10 years from now? Some of the threats we're going to deal with. Do we need to look now at the technology that's out there, the training, how we organize, train, and equip those units? So we're talking to RJ8 about taking a look at this and maybe putting out a study to say, okay, let's look out at least 10 years and take each one of these elements and see if it is still designed right for the future. So we'll probably be doing that. One of the things that I'm concerned about, and I know the tags, we've had this conversation a number of times, but I'm concerned that some of these units, the CSTs are pretty easy. I mean, they're full-time AGRs, 22 people, Title 32. So they're a construct in themselves. But most of the other structure all comes from other units. So you're bringing in pieces and parts of other units. And my thoughts, and this is just my thoughts, I don't know if it's going to go anywhere, we've got a long way to go to look at it, but I really think we're at a point in the world where this capability, both the SURF-Ps and the HERFs, needs to become almost like an MTO structure or UTC structure, a validated structure within the Army and Air Force, so that the Army Guard and Air Guard, when they stand up these units, that's their mission. They're not being taken out of another unit to stand this up. Not only is that their mission, though, then some of them ought to be made available for foreign consequence management when disaster strikes overseas. And, their premier mission would be in the homeland. They would always have to be available. But let's say like a Fukushima plant that we saw in Japan, meltdown. Why couldn't you use some of these knowing that, there was no other threat to the homeland at that point? Could we have shipped one over to help? Not only that, could we use them, as long as there's no threat in the homeland, to go over and build partner capacity in our state partners? And we're doing a little bit of that now. So that's where we got to go to the future, I think.
Thank you very much, sir.
So it looks like our time's running out here, so thanks for the question. I appreciate it. One more. That's it, brother.
How's it going, sir? Staff Sergeant Thompson, Connecticut Army National Guard. I have a question. I gotta take this off. It's too short for me. I have a question about NCOES. I know this is an issue mostly pertaining to anybody in the Army National Guard. The active component within the last couple of years has seemed to just keep changing rules as far as doing NCOESs, and it's very confusing. And one of the big issues I've seen is I'm a 15 uniform, and it's pretty much for all 15 series as far as aviation goes that we have multiple phases for actual NCOES. And the schools that they're available at don't really have a lot of slots available most of the time, but the active component has a different setup, the way that they run it. They just do one straight course through, but for some reason, Army National Guard personnel are exempt. We cannot go to that unless we are AGR. I mean, I'm a federal technician. I know the phase thing can work for some people that work civilian jobs and they can't be gone for 2.5 months. But why is there a reason that a National Guard soldier can't go to this active component school? I know funding is an issue sometimes, but if you look at it as far as like travel goes, it costs the Guard more to send somebody to 3 separate phases in 3 separate states than it is just to send somebody like myself to Fort Eustis for one shot for about 2 months.
I appreciate that question, and I'm not going to not answer it. I'm just going to defer you to the expert. So Command Sergeant Major Bronconi is going to specifically talk about that at the professional development. And I think he's got a team of experts that's here too to answer most of those questions. So will that be okay? Is that an okay answer for you?
Roger, that's fine.
Okay.
I can add
appreciate
one
that.
thing. When we were in one of our state visits, we bumped into an MTT there, mobile training team, and they were teaching that exact topic. And I think that's probably, getting it out to you, bringing the instructors out to you and setting up a course is the way to go. Part of it is the man-day money. It's going to always be tight. I mean, right now, we're lucky for most people, if you get a chance to go to AT and a school, that's on, throughout the world, we're able to do that. We can't really do that now. So the man-day money that we would have to put into that. But if we bring them out to you, and we try to do it, in a weekend, and it takes longer, we know that, but I think it'll pay us huge benefits of getting more and more of our NCOs trained up on the new system.
Oh, thank you, sir.
Thanks for the question. So lastly, I know you guys can read it here, but stay in touch. So we have Facebook pages. They are managed by the General Grasses Public Affairs Office. They're more to do about the enterprise and the National Guard itself as a family than it is to do with General Grass and I. But it's a great opportunity for us to spend some time with our chief. The chief and I get into argument every day who's got the best job in the National Guard, and I'm convinced it's me because I get to work for him.
I will say one thing, Chief mentioned the Facebook page. Be careful out there. Probably about 10 or 15 times a month, somebody takes my picture, and they will move it and create it their own site, and they'll try to extort money from you. So if I ever ask you for money, it's not me, guaranteed.
It's either that or sequestration's really bad, right?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for what you do.
Thanks very much.
Really appreciate it.
Pleasure having you on
Thanks,
board.
Josh. Good to see you, buddy. Good to see
I
you.
appreciate especially how you ran over drunk with the bus on that last question.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Mr. President, I'd like to announce that at this time, all professional development soldiers and airmen need to return to the Westin.
Can you give me 1 minute with that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Brian Birch, you still in the back? I tell you what, if you don't mind, could you do that at the Sergeant at Arms station back there? So the registration tickets, when you all stood in that fantastically quick line getting your delegate badges, we had a spot on your printout for a raffle ticket. Y'all saw the 60-inch TV? All right, well, if it didn't say must be present to win, it should have said must be present to win. So if the PD folks that are walking out the door want a shot, all right, if you have no idea what I'm talking about for a ticket, then go see Brian afterwards, because everybody should have gotten an opportunity to throw their name in this hat. And we will continue to pick prizes. This is not the TV prize this second, but there are some prizes. In fact, Brian, you have something with you at hand, right?
Yes, I do.
Yep. All right, so not that I don't trust you, but find somebody else to pick a name if you don't mind. Someone that looks trustworthy, not the past president, someone else. Oh, a late entry.
The winner is Todd Stenenbeck,
Is Todd Stenenbeck in the house?
or Cyberneck, that is, Todd Cyberneck.
Right in the back, it looks like. All right, very good. Now this is, Brian? Brian,
Yes, sir.
this is, what is this from ADS?
Yes, it is.
All right, what is it?
Jose. That old.
Nice.
Well, it says rollerball bulk unit, big unit. Don't know what it is.
Fantastic. All right, so congratulations, I think.
Is it glasses?
Hey. So this is
Sunglasses.
sunglasses. There you go. Nice pair of sunglasses. All right, this is why we are doing this. Ladies and gentlemen, the exhibitors that are in the exhibit hall, They're the reason why you're only paying $100 and $175 and not $300 and $400 to come to this conference. If the exhibitors don't get visited, if you don't go out, ask the exhibitors what you can do to make their time here successful, they're not coming back. And without the income from the exhibitors, these conferences will suffer. So when we go on break, and we will go on break shortly, but when we go on break, you have got to go into the exhibit hall. You have got to meet every one of those exhibitors and ask them, what can I do for you? And I'd be willing to bet you that if you can at least give the impression that if you come to my state, you might get an exhibitor at your state conference out of the deal. But go visit these exhibitors when we go on break. And that's why we're doing these raffles, and we'll do them every business session. So, it looks like the PD folks left. Sergeant at Arms, yes?
Yes,
all right.
sir.
Very good. So, at this time, I would like to recognize many of our special guests who are still in attendance today. Command Senior Enlisted Leader, North American Aerospace Defense Command, and U.S. Northern Command, Fleet Master Chief Terrence I. Molidor. And we saw the Senior Enlisted Advisor to the Chief of the National Guard Bureau, Chief Master Sergeant Mitchell Brush. Great speech. And we will see Army National Guard Command Sergeant Major Brunk W. Conley. We will see him. There he is. And the Air National Guard Command Chief Master Sergeant James Hotelling. And all former Army National Guard Command Sergeants Majors, Air National Guard Command Chief Master Sergeants, and Senior Enlisted Advisors, if they're in the room, please stand. There we go. And then all State Command Sergeant Majors, State Command Chief Master Sergeants, and Senior Enlisted Leaders and Adjutant Generals in the room, please stand. Appreciate you all being here. And my favorite, the EANGUS past presidents, if you all would stand. AGAUS and NAUGUS personnel, ma'am, thank you for being here. EANGUS national staff, where are you? Way in the back, still working, obviously. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate you all, especially over the last year. Really appreciate it. And last but certainly not least, the EANGUS Auxiliary. Would all of you stand? Thank you so much. And then the EANGUS Executive Council. Could I have all Executive Council members stand, please? So, I will now, we had to change the script a little bit, had some cancellations. Are you ready? Now, I will introduce the EANGUS Auxiliary President, President Judy Wood.
Good afternoon, everybody. Are you having a good time? Yeah. Maybe we'll have a good time tonight. On behalf of the Auxiliary, I would like to welcome you to the Indiana host state for the 44th Annual EANGUS Conference and the 42nd Auxiliary Conference. There's a lot of wonderful things to do here in Indiana, and I hope that you do take advantage of some of those things, some of those sites to see while you're here. A lot of those things are within walking distance of your hotel and this conference center. I would like to take the time right now to introduce my officers and my executive council and my past presidents. Would you please stand when I call your name, please? My vice president is Connie Myers from Mississippi. My secretary is Vivian Taylor from Mississippi. My treasurer is Coral Soar from Wisconsin. My parliamentarian is Sarah Hendricks from Iowa and New Mexico. My immediate past president is Jenny Lanehart from Kentucky. And my auxiliary conference coordinator is Sheila Bandy from Kentucky. My directors are Area 2 Directors Margie Holcomb from Virginia, Elaine Wright from Maryland, Area 3 Director is Diane Williams from Georgia, Area 4 Directors are Kim Clay from Louisiana, Monica Williams from Arkansas. Area 5 Directors is Chris Soar from Wisconsin. Angela Kennebeck from Iowa. Area 6 Director is Linda Line from Wyoming. My past presidents are June O'Dowd from Louisiana, Sarah Hendricks from Iowa, New Mexico, Nancy McDowell from Ohio, Sheila Bandy from Kentucky, Vivian Taylor from Mississippi, and immediate past president again is Jenny Lanehart from Kentucky. I would like to ask again, and I know President Harris has already done this, but he knew I was probably going to do it again. I would like, again, for all of my auxiliary members and associate members to stand that are in the audience. And see, you can be an associate member too. You don't have to be an auxiliary. If you're not an auxiliary member, you can be an associate member. We'd love for you to join. We would also invite you to attend our meetings. You don't have to be a member to attend our business meetings, which will start, our auxiliary business meetings will start on Tuesday and Wednesday in rooms 137 through 139. I would also like to thank the EANGUS staff, Executive Council, and our National Guard leadership as we continue to work together to support our mission. Our mission is to support the military and our families and their families. As a Guard wife for many years and as a former employee of the National Guard headquarters in Montgomery, Alabama, and now your auxiliary president, I am proud to say that we stand side by side with EANGUS. Safe travels home, and I hope to see you next year in Louisiana.
Thank you for being here. All right, so we are now way ahead of schedule. So I'll make a deal with you. If you promise to go out and visit the exhibitors, ask them, what can I do for you? How can I help you? Is there anything that I can do in my state to assist your company? If you will go do that, then we are on break. Are we good? Spend some extra time with the exhibitors, please. Huh? until. Well, see, the schedule kind of got jacked, so, let's see here. Save me, Sergeant at Arms. When do you want him back?
15:30, President.
Good enough for me. Be back at 15:30. How's that?